morning and welcome to you all, whether you're here with us in church, joining us online, or maybe watching the YouTube later. Welcome whoever you are and however you're feeling. Whatever you carry in your heart and bring with you, cares, concerns, or celebrations, sadnesses or joys, you're all welcome. And especially if you're watching for the first time. However we join in, each one of us is part of our community, contributing by being connected in spirit, and all are equally valued. We begin, as is our custom, by lighting our chalice as a symbol of our free religious faith. And if you're at home and have a candle, you may like to light it now. And Edgar, would you kindly go up and light the chalice, please? I should have brought it down. We light this as a symbol of our free religious faith. Words by the Reverend Audrey W. Vincent. We light this chalice this morning for earth, our home. Earth, abundant source of what was before we were and will be after we are gone. As each cell proves our common destiny, may we know earth, our mother of old, as our friend. As we were bred of dust and stars, may we know her fate as ours. Blessed are our bonds to the earth. Blessed are our bonds to all of life. Blessed are our bonds to the source of life itself. Today's service is offered by our church Green Team. We're very pleased to offer this to mark Earth Day, which actually occurred last Wednesday, April the 22nd. Earth Day is a global event celebrating our home planet Earth, raising awareness of the threats to it and what we humans can do to overcome them. It was first celebrated in the USA in 1970, not that long after the Apollo 8 astronauts sent back images of the Earth as seen from space, a beautiful, fragile, blue and white globe, spinning alone amidst the vast darkness of space. Earth Day went global in 1990 and has been publicly observed every year since then, except during the pandemic. Our opening words are an extract from the Jewish Declaration on Nature, from the meeting of leaders of the world faiths organised by the World Wildlife Fund in Assisi in 1986, 40 years ago. And Edgar has reminded me it is actually 40 years ago this weekend since the dreadful nuclear accident in the Chernobyl reactor. So this is what they said in Assisi in 1986. At the very beginning of time, humankind had accepted responsibility before God for all creation. Humankind was commanded to behave towards the rest of creation with justice and compassion. Humanity always lives in tension between its power and the limit set by conscience. Some 20 centuries ago, they told a story of two men who were out on the water in a rowing boat. Suddenly, one of them started to saw through the wood under his feet. He maintained it was his right to do whatever he wished with the place that belonged to him. The other answered him that they were both in the rowing boat together. The hole that he was making would sink them both. We have a responsibility to life, to defend it everywhere, not only against our own damaging actions, but also those of others. We are all passengers together in this same fragile and glorious world. Let us safeguard our rowing boat, and let us row together. I invite you to join in singing our first hymn. It's in the Green Book, number 27, but the words will appear on the screen. A World of Wonder, celebrating the wonder of our world, all its qualities, and the many species with which we share it. Time for prayer and reflection. And I'm going to read a prayer which was written by Erna Colebrook. I'm sure some of you here remember dear Erna. She's living up north with her daughter now. And she was a founder member of the Green Team. So thank you, Erna, for this prayer. She says, "Give thanks for the great journey of the universe which has brought us here. Pray that we may honour this great journey. Pray for all the animals and plants, especially for those threatened with extinction, and all those dying now at the hands of humans. They have a right to be here. They have feelings too. To us, they may seem rudimentary, yet for the reality they live in, they are perfectly honed. Pray that we may learn to share the planet with animals and plants in a new way, in a new relationship, to think and feel with them as brothers and sisters of one very large Gaian superfamily. Perhaps then we could be truly called Homo sapiens, the wise human, the wise species. Pray that we who are part of the Western consumerist culture may find ways to reduce our footprint on planet Earth by rediscovering a shared life of simplicity. Pray for all young people who are growing up in a violent world. Pray that their parents and teachers may teach them true tenderness towards all animals and plants, as well as fellow humans. Pray that we may become channels of responsibility and compassion in reinventing and building a new earth. Pray that the spirit of wisdom and love may inform and infuse all our sensing, thinking, relating, and doing. May it be so. Amen. And a prayer in similar vein by Mariel Clary, who I believe is American Unitarian. Knowing that we do not always live up to our best expectation of ourselves, let us in quietness Seek the good within, which some call the inner light, and some a spark of the divine. Knowing that we live in a society that falls far short of the ideal, let us in quietness resolve to do one thing this week to aid those suffering from want and injustice. Knowing that the earth is our home and that humankind is making it a dirty and even poisonous home, let us in quietness consider how we might be part of making it more healthful for all living things. Knowing that each one of us has some sorrow or worry hidden within, let us consider in quietness how we may reach out to one another with our smiles, our hand clasps, and our encouraging words. May it be so. Amen. And all the members of the Green Team have contributed poems and readings, and Edgar's written an address. So I'm going to invite Delphine to come up with your reading. Your poem. And yes.
It's a joy to be able to read beautiful poems. It's a joy to be able to share them with people that I love and appreciate the nature. So thank you for just listening. Even one of the poems I offered was from Samuel Taylor Coleridge, who had a great understanding of he grew up in a city, and this poem comes from Frost at Midnight, where he is sitting somewhere up in near Somerset with his little baby in a cradle by his side. It's frosty, it's cold, it's freezing. The moon is in the sky, huge moon, and the icicles are hanging, and the fire is crackling in front of him. Just picture that, and this. With this new little life, next to him, this is what he wishes and prays for that child to grow up understanding, loving, and being part of. He wishes that his child should grow up seeing, feeling nature as a teacher that would, quote, mould thy spirit, and by giving, make it ask. God is in every manifestation of nature, is his belief. Dear babe, that sleepest cradled by my side, whose gentle breathings heard in this deep calm fill up the interspersed vacancies and momentary pauses of the thought. My babe, so beautiful, it thrills my heart with tender gladness thus to look at thee, and think that thou shalt learn far other lore and in far other scenes. For I was reared in the great city, pent mid cloisters dim, and sought naught lovely but the sky and stars. But thou, my babe, shall wander like a breeze by lakes and sandy shores, beneath the crags of ancient mountain, and beneath the clouds which image in their bulk both lakes and shores and mountain crags, so that thou shalt see and hear the lovely shapes and sounds intelligible of that eternal language which thy God utters, who from eternity doth teach himself in all, and in all things in himself. Great universal teacher, he shall mould thy spirit, and by giving make it ask, and therefore all seasons shall be sweet to thee. Whether the summer clothe the general earth with greenness, or the redbreasts sit and sing betwixt the tufts of snow on the bare branch of the mossy apple tree, while the nigh thatch smokes in the sun thaw, whether the eavesdrops fall heard only in the trances of the blast, Or if it the secret ministry of frost shall hang them up in silent icicles, quietly shining to the quiet moon.
Thank you, Delphine. Some beautiful imagery in that. And now Margaret is going to read us a poem, Dreams. And I think we follow that with a hymn. Yes, so after Margaret's reading, a hymn.
This poem is by Mary Oliver, entitled When I Am Among the Trees. When I am among the trees, especially the willows and the honey locust, equally the beech, the oaks and the pines, they give off such hints of gladness. I would also say that they save me, and daily I am so distant from the hope of myself, in which I have goodness and discernment, and never hurry through the world, but walk slowly and bow often. Around me the trees stir in their leaves, and call out, stay a while. The light flows from their branches, and they call again. It's simple, they say, and you too have come into the world to do this, to go easy, to be filled with light and to shine.
Instead of a story today, we're going to show a short video trailer of a film showing the concerns of a variety of many people about the serious threat which a lot of human activities pose to our home, planet Earth, and ultimately to us and all the species with whom we share it. This film was created after the National Emergency Briefing in November last year, which brought together experts in climate science who presented their latest findings around climate and nature crisis to an audience of politicians, third sector leaders, and faith representatives. The organisers have created a film documenting all of the speakers at the event and are now calling on communities around the UK to host screenings. And I know that there was one over at Saltash on Monday, which Marion organised. This would be a perfect event to get engagement with the wider community, including local councillors and local MPs. The entire film will be shown in Plymouth in a few weeks, and we hope to also show it here at this church during the summer. I think it would bear more than one showing for the whole of Plymouth. After the video clip, Marion will read a piece entitled Active Hope by Joanna Macy. And then members of the Green Team are going to pass around a collection of natural objects, which are ornamenting the table at the moment, and invite everyone who would like to choose one for a time of quiet contemplation. And you can take it home with you if you want. And then we're going to play some music accompanied by a video of a wildflower meadow. So firstly, the film clip.
Top scientists say the environmental crisis needs a response similar to the scale of the Second World War.
We are in the thick of a crisis. We all have to act.
It's getting worse fast, and we're not prepared.
I'm scared for my own life and future, and I'm absolutely terrified for that of my son.
We're facing the potential of an ungovernable state.
It could make our country uninhabitable.
Oh my goodness.
The physics don't care about the politics.
You're being taken for a fool, my friend.
There are plenty of solutions out there, solutions that will make life better. The burning question is, what can we do to make them happen?
It's absolutely bonkers. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yes, we showed the film on Monday and it was very well received, if you can call it well received. Obviously, it's very shocking, but it's something we all ought to be prepared to take on board, really. Now, I'm going to read a poem called Active Hope. It's written by Joanna Macy, who some of us will know, some of us won't. She died last year. I think she was 96 or something. And she was a much-loved environmentalist and scholar of Buddhism and deep ecology, and an author and an activist. So she did a lot in her life. And I think hope is something we need to cling on to nowadays. So this is Active Hope. Active hope is not wishful thinking. Active hope is not waiting to be rescued by the Lone Ranger or by some saviour. Active hope is waking up to the beauty of life on whose behalf we can act. We belong to this world. The web of life is calling us forth at this time. We've come a long way and we are here to play our part. With active hope, we realise that there are adventures in store, strengths to discover, and comrades to link arms with. Active hope is a readiness to engage. Active hope is a readiness to discover the strengths in ourselves and in others. A readiness to discover the reasons for hope and the occasions for love. A readiness to discover the size and strength of our hearts, our quickness of mind, our steadiness of purpose, our own authority, our love for life and liveliness of our curiosity. The unsuspected deep well of patience and diligence, the keenness of our senses and our capacity to lead. None of these can be discovered in an armchair or without risk.
Very beautiful music. Hopefully people can hear me. Yes. Zoom as well, hopefully. Okay. So, on this Mother Earth Day, we gather not simply to celebrate the beauty of our world, but to reflect on our place within it, our responsibilities, our limitations, and our possibilities. From a Unitarian perspective, we stand at a crossroads of traditions, drawing wisdom from many wells, as Matthew Fox would have said. Guided not by doctrine, but by a shared commitment to truth, to compassion, and reverence for life. The earth, in all its abundance, is not merely a backdrop to human activity. It is the ground of our being, the context of our stories, the source of our breath. In the book of Genesis, we read that humanity was formed from the dust of the ground and animated by the breath of life. This image is not one of domination, but of intimacy. We are not separate from the earth, we are of it. The Hebrew word Adam, or Adam if you want, it is Adam in Hebrew, shares its roots with Adamah, meaning soil, reminding us that our identity is inseparable from the living land. Incidentally, there was something like that this morning on farming today, farming and faith. Yet, the biblical tradition also contains tension, and we need to recognize that. Humanity is given dominion over the earth, but how we interpret that word matters deeply. If dominion is understood as exploitation, we see the consequences all around us. Environmental degradation, loss of biodiversity, and a climate in crisis. However, if dominion is understood through the lens of stewardship, care, responsibility, and humility, then it becomes a sacred trust. The prophets repeatedly call for justice, and I'm using the present tense because it's still there. We need to bear that in mind. The prophets repeatedly call for justice, not only among people, but within the whole of creation. And not only then, but also now. The earth itself is portrayed as groaning under the weight of human injustice. Buddhist teachings offer another perspective, one that resonates deeply with this sense of interconnectedness. The principle of interdependence teaches that nothing exists in isolation. Every tree, every river, every creature arises in relationship with everything else. When we harm the earth, we are not harming something other, we are participating in our own suffering. In essence, we're harming ourselves. The practice of mindfulness invites us to become aware of this reality, to see clearly the web of life in which we are embedded. Compassion, in the Buddhist sense, extends beyond human beings to all sentient life. It calls us to act in ways that reduce suffering and cultivate balance. This is not an abstract ideal, it is a practical ethic. It asks us to consider how we live, what we consume, and how our choices ripple outwards. In this way, caring for the earth becomes a spiritual practice, a form of awakening. Karen Armstrong, in her many writings about this, on religion and history of human belief, reminds us that the core of all major spiritual traditions is not belief, but compassion. She argues that the golden rule, to treat others as we wish to be treated, is the thread which binds religious wisdom across cultures. If we extend this principle to the earth itself, it challenges us profoundly. What would it mean to treat the natural world as we would wish to be treated? To act not out of convenience or short-term gain, but empathy and respect. Karen Armstrong also speaks of the importance of reclaiming a sense of the sacred. In many modern societies, we have desacralized the world, reducing it to a collection of resources to be managed, to be consumed. But when we lose the sense that the earth is holy, that it possesses intrinsic value beyond its utility, we also lose our moral anchor. Resacralizing the earth does not require a return to superstition. It requires a shift in perception. It asks us to see the extraordinary in the ordinary, to recognize that every living thing participates in a larger mystery. From a Unitarian viewpoint, this resonates deeply, profoundly. We affirm the inherent worth and dignity of every person. But why stop there? Many Unitarian communities have expanded this principle to include all of creation. The earth is not just something we use, it is something we belong to. Our ethical commitments to justice, to compassion, to truth must, therefore, include ecological responsibility. Mother Earth Day is not only a celebration, it is a call to conscience, another key Unitarian word. It asks us to examine the ways in which we are complicit in harm and to imagine alternatives. It invites us to move beyond despair into action, not because we are certain of success, but because care itself is meaningful. Even small acts, reducing waste, protecting habitats, advocating for change, become expressions of a deeper spiritual commitment. Perhaps most importantly, this day calls us to cultivate gratitude. Gratitude for the air we breathe, the water we drink, the food that sustains us. Gratitude for the intricate, fragile systems that make life possible. Thinking of bees, for example. Gratitude not as a passive feeling, but as an active force that shapes how we live. In the end, the question is not whether we can save the earth. The earth in some form will endure. The question is whether we can transform ourselves, our habits, our values, our ways of seeing, so that we may live in right relationship with the world that sustains us. So, may we listen more deeply, more profoundly. May we act more wisely. And may we remember always that we are not separate from this earth, but part of its unfolding story. And I will leave you with these thoughts.
Thank you, dear Edgar, for a very thought-provoking address. Thank you so much. We now come to our third and final hymn, which is the number 216 in the Purple Book, but again the words will appear on the screen, Wide Green World.
For
closing words. And to close, we leave you with this thought from the Unitarian book Fragments of Holiness, which has quotations from many well-known thinkers, poets, writers and activists, one for each day of the year. The quotation for April the 22nd, Earth Day, is by Fyodor Dostoevsky, who urges us, love all of God's creation, both the whole and every grain of sand in it. Love every leaf, every ray of light. Love the animals. Love the plants. Love every kind of thing. If you love each fragment, then everywhere God's mystery will reveal itself to you. Once you perceive it, you will begin to understand it ever more deeply with each passing day. And finally, you will be able to love the whole world with an embracing, universal love. And from that love, we can each find the strength and will to do what we can. And bearing in mind what is happening up in London today, it is not a sprint, it's a marathon. Thank you all so much for listening, everybody. We're now going to extinguish the chalice and then a short closing video, which was actually made for Earth Day 2022, but we thought it was better than the one that's been produced for this year.